Welcome back to Bio Lectures. Today here I will tell you about CRISPR-Cas9. CRISPR-Cas9 is an acquired immune system of bacteria against viruses. Whenever a virus attacks on bacteria, its genome segment is inserted in bacterial genome called CRISPR loci. When this virus attacks again, bacteria cuts the viral DNA using the copy of DNA that has been inserted in the first attack. CRISPR-Cas9 is an unique tool that enables scientists and medical researchers to edit the part of genome by removing, adding or altering sections of the DNA segment. The advantage of this technique is that it is very precise. It cuts very precisely. This method is versatile and less expensive. CRISPR-Cas9 is identified in E. coli in 1987 while analyzing the genes responsible for conversion of alkaline phosphatase. These sequences were identified in several bacterial and archaeal genomes, but the function was not known. In 2000, it was noticed that some sequences in CRISPR were similar to the sequence found in bacteriophage, virus and plasmids. They discovered that virus cannot infect bacteria if it harbors the matching sequence to the viral genome. Jennifer Doudna and Emmanuel Charpentier, the Nobel Prize winner, studied CRISPR-Cas9 in Streptococcus pyogenes that causes disease in humans. Jennifer Doudna and Emmanuel Charpentier studied genome editing in Streptococcus pyogenes. Now let's talk about CRISPR-Cas9. Now let's talk about CRISPR-Cas9. CRISPR, that means clustered regularly interspaced short palindromic repeats. Clustered means they are regularly interspaced. That means there are some sequences that are spaced in between. And it is short palindromic repeats. Palindromic repeats are the repeats whenever you read the sequences in forward and reverse direction in the complementary instance, they will read same. That is palindromic repeats. And Cas9, that is CRISPR associated protein. Whenever a virus attacks on bacteria, Cas1 and Cas2, I want to tell you here that this one is the CRISPR loci. And it has been seen that wherever CRISPR loci nearby Cas genes are available, that codes for Cas protein. So these black parts are the CRISPR, that means they are the repeats, palindromic repeats, and these colorful parts are the spacer sequences or the parts of viral DNA. It is of colorful because it is showing different color, that means it is showing that this is the sequence of different viral DNA, so they can be defensive against different viruses. Whenever a virus attacks on bacteria, Cas1 and Cas2 cuts the DNA and makes it to be inserted inside the CRISPR loci and makes the another spacer sequence. This CRISPR loci gets transcribed into RNA, pre-CRISPR RNA, and it binds with tracer RNA. Tracer RNA is a trans-activating RNA. It binds with CRISPR RNA and it helps in maturation of CRISPR RNA, and it holds CRISPR RNA on the Cas9 protein. It is having palindromic repeats. So palindromic repeats are capable of forming hairpin loop structure. The spacer sequence is all about 20 nucleotides. Pre-CRISPR RNA and tracer RNA makes a guide sequence. It is called as guide RNA. See here, CRISPR RNA, it is 20 nucleotide. It is inserted. It is the sequence of viral DNA and it binds with transactivating RNA and it makes a guide RNA because it binds CRISPR RNA plus tracer RNA binds with Cas9, that is Cas9 protein. Cas9 protein is an endonuclease and it cuts the viral DNA on both strands. That means it produces blunt cut in both of the DNA on the same place. So CRISPR RNA and tracer RNA binds with Cas9, and it guides the Cas9 to search for the similar matching sequence of the guide sequence. If it finds match with guide sequence and the foreign viral DNA, it cuts the viral DNA on the matching site. Cas9 is an endonuclease, and it is having two domains. It is actually having 6 domains, but HNH and RUVC are the catalytic domain. They cut the viral DNA on the same site. When CRISPR RNA and Cas9 binds with the CRISPR RNA and tracer RNA binds with the Cas9, and virus attacks again on the bacteria, they guide Cas9 to find out the matching sequence, and Cas9 find out the PAM sequences also. PAM sequences are the sequence found in viral DNA. PAM is, that is, protospacer adjacent motif. It is very uh, essential for binding of Cas9 to the viral DNA. If Cas9 doesn't find PAM sequences, so it will not bind with the DNA. It identifies the PAM sequences and the similar sequences to the spacer sequence. When it finds the similar sequence, it cuts the DNA, and virus is not able to infect the DNA. That is the procedure of CRISPR-Cas9. The CRISPR arrays allows the bacteria to remember the viruses because it inserts the viral DNA inside the CRISPR loci. If virus attacks again, the bacteria produces RNA segments from the CRISPR arrays to target the virus DNA. The bacteria then use Cas9 to blunt cut both DNA apart, which disables the virus. This is the PAM sequence that I have already told you, that protospacer adjacent motif. This is the sequence which is necessary to recognize to find the target DNA. In the case of Streptococcus pyogenes, the PAM sequence are the NGG. When it recognizes the PAM sequence, it binds with the target DNA, which is 20 nucleotide, and it cuts 3 to 6 nucleotides downstream to the PAM sequence. PAM, that is protospacer adjacent motif. The protospacer adjacent motif is a short DNA sequence, usually 2 to 6 base pairs in length, that allows DNA region targeted for cleavage by the CRISPR system. The PAM is required for Cas nuclease to cut and is generally found 3 to 4 nucleotides downstream from the cut site. The PAM most commonly used Cas9 from Streptococcus pyogenes recognizes PAM sequence, that is NGG. Here N can be any nucleotide. There are many different Cas endonucleases to choose from, isolated different bacterial species, and each recognizes a different PAM. That means different bacteria uses different Cas nuclease that recognizes different PAM sequence. When the Cas nuclease cuts the fragments of viral genome and it stores the bits of CRISPR repeats, it excludes the PAM sequence, even though it is involved in recognition, to ensure that bacterial genome is not recognized as the target. It means it is saying that whenever Cas nuclease cuts the fragment of viral genome, it excludes or leaves PAM sequences, and it inserts the viral genome in the CRISPR loci where PAM sequences are not included. So it can differentiate between the bacterial genome and the viral genome, or self or non-self genome. So it will not cut the bacterial genome. Whenever Cas9 binds with guide RNA, searches for PAM sequence and binds with target DNA, it produces a blunt cut or double strand breakage formation. After creating a breakage, there is a natural mechanism inside the cell, that is repair mechanism. It is repaired by non-homologous end joining method that results in insertion deletion at the cleavage site, or by homology direct repair that results in precise genome modification at the site of double strand breakage using homologous repair template. That means Cas9 is a programmable endonuclease. That means it can be programmed with any desired RNA segment that can find with for the matching DNA, and it can be multiplexed with different DNA segments that can replace the faulty DNA with the new one. So it can be used for the treatment of mutation in the DNA. Now the Cas9 protein. Cas9 protein, that is CRISPR associated protein, is responsible for locating and cleaving target DNA in both natural and artificial CRISPR-Cas system. The Cas9 protein has 6 domains: REC1, REC2, bridge helix, HNH, RUVC, and PAM interacting domain. The REC1 domain is the largest and is responsible for binding guide RNA. REC1 is responsible for binding with guide RNA that locates for the target DNA. The arginine-rich bridge helix is crucial for initiating cleavage activity upon binding of target DNA. And it is the PAM interacting domain then recognizes the PAM site, and it confers the PAM specificity, is therefore responsible for initiating binding of the target DNA. The HNH and RUVC are the catalytic domain. They are nucleases that cuts the single strand DNA. HNH cut in one strand and RUVC cuts in complementary strand. So this is all about the structure. Seen that Cas9 grabs the DNA, and every time it searches for the similar sequence in the viral DNA, so there is a conformational change in the Cas9 protein, and there is no external sources involved for the conformational change. The structural conformation of Cas9 is highly dynamic, and it spontaneously fluctuates among 3 major conformational states, mainly reflecting the conformational dynamics of HNH domain. It is a catalytic domain among the open, intermediate, and closed states. This is the target DNA or guide DNA binds with the Cas9 DNA. It grabs the DNA. Now it will search for the matching sequence in every DNA. So it will grab the DNA and it will search for the DNA, and it will open up the DNA and binds with the matching sequence. Every time there is a conformational change, and it has been seen that extensive structural rearrangement occur prior to target DNA binding, reinforcing the notion that guide RNA loading is the key regulator for Cas9 enzyme function. See here, it is Cas9 complex that is inactive. When it binds with the target DNA or binds with the guide RNA, there are some conformational changes. See the conformational changes. There are conformational changes in HNH and REC2. They are active, so it will find the matching sequence in the DNA. It will unwind the DNA and find the matching sequence. Cas9 is the programmable endonuclease. That means it can be programmed with any desired RNA and can be multiplexed with different DNA. So it can replace the faulty DNA with the new one at the cleavage site. Now it is all about the CRISPR-Cas9. This is very precise method to cut the DNA and replace the DNA. So this technology can be used in different ways and in different fields like agriculture field, production of vaccines, production of new medicines, and production of biofuels, and the treatments and of mutation in the human, or the genetic diseases in the human beings, and in the animals it can be used for different ways. So for using CRISPR-Cas9 technology, it has been used in HIV-1 AIDS treatment, front temporal lobar degeneration treatment, muscular dystrophy, sickle cell anemia, and many other hereditary diseases. It can be used for the changes in the human cell with the insertion of or the use of this technique inside the germline of the human cell. But it is very ethical and social issue, because it will change the change will pass on generation to generation, and there can be many things that we are not explored yet in human genome, gene and environment interactions. So further use of this technique on human can be restricted, because our information about gene and environment and genome of human beings is not complete. So this is all about the CRISPR-Cas9. I have explained everything in detail. If you like my explanation, please subscribe my channel. Next time I'll be again available with very interesting topic with full explanation. Till then, goodbye and thank you.